specifics and logistics of providing Cholov Yisrael around the country are very difficult. Anderson Dairy, they have the kind of setup that can be made Cholov Yisrael. And about a year ago, the local Chabad community here in Las Vegas got together with Anderson. They started producing a line of Cholov Yisrael milk for the whole West Coast.
Wow. That
is magic. We're so happy to see a company and a community involved in this. Let's go check out Cholov Yisrael milk being made. Kosher?
We carry a full line of dairy products here at Anderson Dairy, and we sell everything from eggs to butter to cheese to cottage cheese, all milk products, both fluid and packaged products. Many years ago, there was a gentleman by the name of Harry Anderson, and he ran a small herd here in Las Vegas. And back in 1907, when that began, Las Vegas was a very small town. It wasn't much more than a railway depot. Well, Las Vegas quickly became a hub, and it grew rapidly. And as Las Vegas grew, Anderson Dairy grew along with it. We'll process anywhere from 10 to up to 18 tanker loads of milk a day. And so as that grew, we looked for ways to be able to further enhance that community base that we had. One of the things that was important in that was the Jewish community. We have the regular kosher rabbis come in and inspect our facility, as well as those rabbis that come in and certify Anderson Dairy products for high kosher. And so we are a very highly regulated plant. We take great pride in the products that we put up.
All the Cholov Yisrael milk all came from the East Coast, would be delivered to California. From California, then it would come to Las Vegas. So you can imagine the time we cracked the seal on the milk, we had maybe a day to 2 days, so we would trash the second half of the bottle.
Before you know it, if you have a 21-day or 25-day shelf life and you stressed out the milk by having it exposed to the elements, you're looking at a product you'll have a few days for it to consume. So there was a huge burden on restaurants, on consumers, institutions. It was very difficult to have top-tier quality product. It's a very perishable item.
Moishe Minsky contacted me and asked if there was some way that we could put together a program where we could produce high kosher milk products.
We had a few conversations about the project, the scope of work. It came to a point where they said, okay, Moishe, if you're interested, we need to have a in-house meeting. One of the requirements was that the plant needs to be down for 24 hours because there's a hitter to kosher, it's called Ini Ben Yoimoy, and the plant was closed over the weekends. And then can we kosher the pasteurizer and all the equipment at 212 degrees? So we wanted to have not just Cholov Yisrael milk, but the top tier level of Cholov Yisrael milk.
The majority of our milk comes out of southern Utah, and we have a great relationship with some of the local farmers there. And the benefit to our buying the milk directly from the producer, we know exactly where that milk is coming from. We know the farmer directly, personally. We know the standard of quality that they maintain, and we are able to have the rabbi there at the farm to witness that happening, because we know that that milk that is milked that day into that tanker meets the high kosher standard, and it's coming directly to us with the seal. That rabbi follows it, and we know the origin, and we know how it's handled.
The solution to the Cholov Yisrael problem in the West Coast originates right here. Over here, they just started a little less than a year ago to make sure that the West Coast has Cholov Yisrael milk. I drive up Motzei Shabbos at about 10, 11 o'clock. I get here close to midnight. We got to make sure that the cows that are producing the milk is all, number one, there's no sicknesses, which will render it non-kosher. And number two is to make sure that it's actually cows and only cows that are going to be through here. We start the process by checking all the silos and all the tanks, making sure they're empty and they're clean. We start the milking. The cows get hooked up, and then the line of the new Cholov Yisrael milk gets transferred to different pipes and different filters to clean out the milk. Once the milk is all cleaned, everything is brought up into the trucks. The trucks is first checked again to see if it's empty, making sure it's kosher. Once we see it's empty, we start filling up the trucks, and then we take a label and a tag to tag it to make sure we know that the truck is kosher. And once everything is sealed off, we send the trucks off.
They follow those trucks down here to Anderson Dairy, and again, watch as all of our equipment is sanitized and cleansed, and then that product is processed. We ensure that we meet that high kosher standard, which is even a standard above the normal kosher designation.
My job is making sure that the trucks that coming with the milk is transferred properly in empty and clean silos. Second thing that I have to make sure of is that the quantities of milk are exactly the same. Then we're gonna do the bottling process. So we have to make sure that the milk that's coming from inside the pipes into the bottles are coming from the tanks that are, reserved to us.
These are the half-gallon labels for Kosher Pastures. It's the high kosher product that we put up here at Anderson Dairy. As the milk comes in directly from the farm, within a matter of hours it is packaged and it is put on a delivery truck and is delivered directly to the stores. And so that milk which those consumers of Kosher Pastures milk, in this instance, receive is the freshest and highest quality that they can possibly get. There are many people, even outside of that Jewish community, that look for that kosher label because they recognize that kosher means quality. It means good, safe products that their families can consume.
The principals at Anderson and the principals at the farm are part of the Mormon group and part of that society, and that's the reason I think that really helped play into the fact that their history and their background and what they have gone through and their religious upbringing really contributed and helped out the sensitivities of what the kosher consumer needed, and especially the Cholov Yisrael consumer needed. They're also very deeply religious people. So for them, when they have someone who's also of a religious nature, they can understand there's more sensitivity that they felt towards the project and towards the community that needed to have something.
We are very proud of that relationship that we have with the Jewish community, specifically with Kosher Pastures, and we are pleased really to be able to produce those products for that community.
Families who weren't keeping Cholov Yisrael because of the financial constraint that it had to pay $4.50 or $5 a bottle now came back and started to keep Cholov Yisrael because the availability was there in an affordable manner. The milk that we manufacture is available throughout the entire state of California, Nevada. Our goal is to expand that to more states like Arizona, Colorado, Seattle, Washington.
Thanks to the new partnership of Kosher Pastures together with Anderson Dairy, it made it possible that we have fresh milk, delicious milk, and we don't have to throw out any milk.
I was brought up in Brooklyn, New York, part of the Chabad Hasidic group. Anderson, they were religious Mormons. To have someone who is religious have a relationship, a friendship relationship, a business relationship, and become like close friends is very, very, very interesting. Here is people who genuinely respect each other, genuinely want to do good for one another, regardless of association or affiliation or religious background, and that is an incredible American story.
It's a fascinating experience to be here, to see a company like this, Anderson Dairy, which is pretty big, get together with a very small group to provide a pretty good situation about Cholov Yisrael has been fascinating. This is Anderson Dairy, this is Las Vegas. My milk brings all the Cholovs to the town. My milk is Cholov Yisrael, my milk is Yeah, we're off to see the wizard. Oh,